Hello and welcome from the National Citizens Inquiry of Canada. My name is Ken Drysdale. I am the chairman of the 4 independent commissioners who prepared the actual inquiry report that was submitted on November 28th of 2023. I'm here today to talk to you about the report and give you some helpful hints as to how you can navigate the report and get the most out of it and as quickly as possible. You know, we recognized when we were preparing the report that it was going to be an enormous and comprehensive document. I remind you that the commissioners visited 8 cities from coast to coast in Canada and spent 3 full days listening to the testimony of approximately 305 witnesses. You know, the testimonies covered the entire spectrum of what happened in Canada during the mandates, and the report is an incredibly comprehensive, easy to understand document, but it is a large document, and we find that some people are being intimidated by that. We commissioners recognized this when we were preparing the report, and we prepared it in such a way that it's easy to navigate. It is easy to find topics that you might be interested in, and it is very easy for you to understand and review all of the recommendations and the conclusions that we reached. In that regard, I am now going to go through the report with you to show you how easy it is to navigate and find those specific topics that you might find of interest. So right now, I'm going to go to a sharing on my computer screen, which shows the actual report in electronic format. What you're seeing on the computer screen right now is the front page cover of their report. And along the left-hand side, you're seeing the indexed pages of that report. What we did when we prepared the report is we included a comprehensive table of contents, which I'm going to page down to right now on the shared screen. And what you're seeing now is the table of contents is almost 15 pages long in and of itself. And it's broken down into all kinds of different topics and areas of interest. The way I suggest that people read this report is they go to the table of contents and they go through those items that they find most interesting to themselves. Once again, because it's such a large and comprehensive report, I also recommend that to start with, people go to sections 9 and 10. Sections 9 and 10 are the conclusions of the report, and they include a commissioner's statement. The conclusions is only 2.5 pages long, and I highly recommend that folks start by reading that conclusions page. It will give you some feeling as to how the commissioners were understanding the testimony and what we were concluding having gone through all of that testimony. The section that I recommend they read next is the commissioner's statement. It's about 3.5 pages long, and it really expresses to the Canadian people the feelings and inner thoughts of the commissioners after having listened to hundreds of hours of testimony and spending thousands of hours of preparing the report. So once you have read section 9 and section 10, I then recommend that you go back to the table of contents, and that's what we're going to do here on the screen right now. The report is basically split into 3 volumes. Volume 1 includes an executive summary, a summary of the pandemic. It also includes information about the National Citizens Inquiry, what our objectives were, how we did the work, and it talks about what the public hearings were in general terms. Volume 2 of the report includes Section 7 and Section 8, 9, and 10. And Section 7 is the analysis, discussion. It talks to you about the witness testimony that we utilized in analyzing the testimony. It includes recommendations, conclusions. Section 8 is a special section that we included in the report, and it only includes the recommendations from Section 7. So where Section 7 tells you about the witness testimony we used was, what our internal thoughts were, and what the discussion was, Section 8 is simply a listing under various topic headings of the recommendations. So watching on the screen now, and you can see at the bottom of my screen, there's Section 8, recommendations. You can see in Section 8 that we have broken down the recommendations to a number of different subject areas. And what I'm showing you on the screen right now is the first subject area, which is Canada's justice system. If you page down further, as I'm doing in the table of contents, you'll see an entire list of all of the different types of areas that we included in the report. And you'll see it's quite extensive. Some of these topics you may or may not be interested in. So what I am recommending is that you go to a topic that you're interested in first in section 8, and simply, if you're using a PDF version, you click on that topic heading in the table of contents and it will take you to the section. So for instance, here I'm looking at the impacts of mandates on Canadian citizens, and if I click on that, it takes you to that section, and once again, it only shows you in bullet form the actual recommendations that we made in that subject area. Now, once you've read those recommendations, you may want to learn more. And then what I recommend you do is go to the section 7 under the same numbering system. So if you're looking at here in this example, 8.32, which is impacts of the mandates on Canadian citizens, and you want to know what our thought process was, go to section 7.32, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go back to the table of contents, and I'm going to find section 7.32, and you'll see it's got the same heading. And when you click on that one, it takes you to this section, which explains to you how we came up with the recommendations that you previously looked at in section 8. So it talks about all of the witness testimony that we relied upon. It talks about testimony concerning the mandates. It talks about excess mortality in this instance. And it goes on and lists the witnesses that we relied upon. And again, their detailed transcripts of all of their testimonies are included in volume 3 of this report. So it's all in a comprehensive place. And once you read all of this, again, the recommendations are repeated so that you can see our thought process, what we relied upon to make the recommendations, and you can reread the recommendations with a different outlook as to how we came up with them. Now, at that point, I recommend that you go back to the table of contents, and I'm going to do that right now on my screen, and you look in section 8 for other topic areas that you might be interested in. And again, you just find those particular items that you're interested in and go through it in that manner. In that way, it breaks this report up into bite-sized, manageable pieces that you can understand, you can absorb at your own speed. And I'm hoping that once you get into the report itself, you're going to find that you can't put it down and you've got to go through all of the sections. Now, once you have gone through section 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, you may very well want to go back to volume 1, and I'm just showing that on my screen right now, and understand exactly what we did. And that's really what volume 1 is about. It gives an introduction to the National Citizens Inquiry. It talks about what we did and why we did it. It talks about how we financed it, how it was done by volunteers. We also give you a little overview of the pandemic and timeline of the basic events. And there's a whole bunch of background information here, which I think is critical to you in understanding actually the width and depth of this incredible, unique endeavor. In conclusion, my hope is that by watching this video, we've lifted the veil on the National Citizens Inquiry report and presented it to you in a way that is not intimidating and a way that you can easily navigate the report and find those sections most interest you and your family. I encourage you to go through all sections of the report, and when you do, you'll have an incredible understanding of what happened, why it happened, and how it can be avoided in the future. I want to remind you that you can get your free copy of the National Citizens Inquiry Report simply by visiting our website at www.nationalcitizensinquiry.ca and go to the tab labeled Commissioner's Report. You can download the entire report for free as a PDF right to your computer, or the report will be available in hardcover volumes in most online bookstores soon. With that, I'm Ken Drysdale, Chairman of the Independent Commissioners of the National Citizens Inquiry, and I look forward to hearing from you.